Okay, thought we'd pull out the Midland 78999, and the 78999 is one we just didn't see a lot of here in Australia. This one's done a little bit of a custom on the meters, but apart from that, you're looking at pretty much the 78999. I certainly had a nice meter arrangement with modulation, SWR, and receive signal, obviously RF signal output as well in there. But lovely. I mean, this is just build quality knobs that they really are very, very nice. And they thought of a few things which you pretty much only saw on the super bases and on the GE super bases, with the antenna switching from A and B. So people would run their beam on B and their vertical on A, etc. And it's always been a good thing to do. I'm actually on an antenna at the moment. I don't think anybody's out there. Anybody out there got a copy? 177 or 231s, 229 calling? See if any of the regulars are about. Unfortunately, this time of night, it's a bit later at night at the moment. Sane people go to bed, I suppose, which is clever. So I thought I'd just run this up and have a bit of a look. She's I've had this for months and I just haven't had a chance to plug it in, and I just thought we'd just have a bit of a little play with it. Very standard. There's no modifications, no sort of other bits and pieces. So what you see is what you get. That was built, I think. Now, test me here. Let me think about this. Well, I must admit, I had to go check. I was about to say it was 1979 that these came out, and it appears I'm very wrong. It was 1977 they started building these, so it was a little bit earlier than what I initially thought. I went and stole some information off the internet to get to get that 1977. Well, since there's nobody that wants to talk to me, I don't think we're going to get anyone there at the moment. 177 or 231, 229. Any of you guys awake? Just trying to do a test on a Midland 78999. Unreal. I just had a look at the clock too. It's about 11 o'clock. So to be fair, one of the Steves, we've got the two Steves, 177 Steve and 231 Steve, both good mates of mine in Wodonga, and one of them's got 6 kids, so I understand him going to bed early. He probably just wants, after a day of looking after and doing what he's doing here. I understand that. Okay, so look, we'll just quickly go through a few features. Nice, since nobody's even remotely here, we'll go down one channel just to be polite. But so you've got your calibrate over here. Calibrate here, sorry, I'll be right. And so we set the calibrate like so, which I'm not doing very well here. Just let me find out why. Okay, interesting. Just a little bit of cleaner in the switch here will be better. What was happening was, I might as well show you, that's what we were getting there. And you've got your little modulation light that goes there, and the modulation meter, etc. But what was happening when we went from RF to calibrate, see how that's not calibrating? And when there we go. And what I'll do, I'll get in there and I'll set that calibration correctly, because it's a little bit high at the moment. So the idea is then we go to SWR, which is insanely high. So we'll have a little bit of a look at that, because I'm having trouble believing that. But let's find out. Let's put it into a dummy load just so... let's have my antenna set up. It's possible, actually. Let me just put it into a dummy load. Let's have a look. Okay, so I'm pretty sure my antenna was okay. I just had to have a quick look. But, excuse me. But so what we've done is we've put it into a dummy load. So let's just see what the dummy load says. And, of course, we've still got that dicky switch there. And we've still got... Yes, we have too. So, yeah, I'm going to pull the cover on this. Let's have a quick look and just see, because I reckon that'll need spraying and we'll need to calibrate that SWR meter. Certainly doesn't look right, does it? Righto, with the covers off now, we've given that a bit of a clean, and all we've done, look at this, just hit it with some deoxit, and we still need to set that calibration point. It's still way too high, but at least we can get in there and calibrate that now. Excuse me. So, what is this radio all about? Because 1977, this is a very, very early PLL 02A. Notice how they're still using the green VCO that is used in the B models. very problematic over the years. But, I mean, not that the silver ones were much better. So this is a very early first generation Cybernet board. They don't get much earlier than this. It's really is missing a hell of a lot that obviously, you know, the Cybernet board started to take on board. But, you know, very much to see 1306, 1307 or 1969, sorry, 2166, 1969 driver final. Pre-drive comes in through here, little device there for that. Fairly easy. How they've gone over to all their channel select area, all down here, and for 1977, and that's the thing. You've got to remember a little bit that that was a long while ago. But let's have a look. I just need to put a bit of the right frequency in here. We're not quite right there, are we? We're just operating on 7 megs, obviously. Oh, jeez. I've hit the focus, haven't I? See, I did a good job of that. Get that a bit better. All right, sorry about that. Hang on, I'll just do this. Okay, I love this monitor, but my glasses are a bit dirty. I couldn't quite see the focus point through the camera, so I had to just do it without it. But that's all good. So what have we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Maybe if we go to what are we on? 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we've got about 5 watts of 5 watts of power there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And let's just have a look at sideband. Have a look there. See what we've got. 1, 2, 3. 12 watts, very standard. If I go down to single side bit, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2. So yeah, that's doing well into dubbing load there. That's not bad. So apart from just a calibration on the SWR meter, which I'm not completely happy with, we've just got to go in and just check that everything's working. I can hear the ANL, the noisemaker, working. PACB obviously working. Oh, I can hear the high filter. Now you probably can't. If I put a tone in, let's have a look here. Bring ourselves over. We'll just chuck it in on an FM. That'll do. And let's have a look here. Hang on. Okay, and obviously a bit of signal. Interesting. We're going to need to check out what they've done on the HF switch. As you can see, cuts out there. I know what I think is happening. Well, let's have a look. Easiest way that we can do that, turn off your generate signal, put your spectrum analyzer on there, and what we're going to do is we're going to pump in a signal on channel 35, and we'll see that signal coming up there, no problems. Then we're going to hit the HF filter. Look at that. Okay, so what we're going to have to do is to disable this here. So this will be a matter of they will have cut one track on the PLO02A, probably the 320 KC line. That's probably given them channel 42 to 59, or they could have done the 640 KC line, which would be channel 60 to 104. More likely it's just someone that's wanted to get up to channel 55 by doing this here and going to channel so let's think about this as 42, 43, 44, 46, 7, 8, 9, 50. You have to then go 51, 52, 3, 4, 5. So let's see if I'm right. And no, I reckon I'm wrong. I reckon I'm one channel out because of the way channel 23 is 255. But we can have a little quick look and just see where we are. Well, how wrong was I? We're going to have a little look at this. Channel 12 is 55, would you believe it? 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2. Okay, not that it's important, but I will be interested to have a look at how they've done that. That's almost like they've used a 160 and a 320. They might have coupled over two tracks. We'll have a bit of a quick look at that underneath in a minute, because if anybody knows me, knows me well, I want that high filter to be a high filter. I don't want it to be extra channels. One of the things that we pride ourselves on is trying to, try and get it back to a standard as much as possible. Okay, so we know that switch doesn't do what it's meant to do. Every other switch is doing what it's meant to do. Just having a bit of a look again at that receiver, which we did sort of get a bit carried away, having a look at what that high filter switch, HF filter it says. Yep, this thing hears very well, 0.5 of a microvolt. It is, it's minus 113 dBm. And I'll take a guess here that if I take it down to 0.1, yeah, still got it. 0.05, it's lost it. But at 0.159, it's certainly got it, no problems. And 0.5 of a microvolt, it is loud and clear. So the receiver on this, for what is a very early Cybernet, the later model Cybernets got down to, you know, 0.05 or maybe 133, minus 133 dBm. So, you know, they were really cracking away. And don't get me wrong, you can do some upgrades to this older board and get that receiver just that tad better. I wouldn't bother, and the reason for that is it's 0.1 of a microvolt. It's really, you know, 124, minus 124, minus 125 dBm. That is really, you know, especially for the era. And that's the thing, sometimes you don't want to sacrifice the originality of the radio, hence why I don't like people who put channels in them. You know, I'd rather have that, you know, as an original 1977 radio. So that's what we'll do. You know, it's pretty simple. Let's have another look inside. Well, it's going to show that it's the first time I've looked at one of these, and I should have picked something before, and that was there was no audio stage on the other side. Okay, so what they've done here, this is a very early version GEB model. This is very similar to what went into the super basses and quite a few different radios. And I'm just having a little bit of a look just to see what they've done here wiring wise. Most of this they've kept it looking very standard, and all power to them for doing that. That's nice. They have taken out the 110 volt transformer. We use a very quiet switch mode these days if we're going to do a 240 volt conversion. That work very, very well. Now I need to just dig around here. Let's have a look. We're on that second switch there, which, yeah, okay. So they would have cut into that board. No, I reckon they've gone on top of the switch. I might have missed something on the other side. Let's have a quick look. Can't believe I missed this. Have a look at this. All right. What looked like it was a routine part of the radio. Let's get this out of the way. Sorry. Okay, so they've taken a ribbon. Have a listen to that. Okay, so through here they're switching. This is how they're doing their extra channels, and they're coming in underneath. So this board here, basically, on the underside here, there's some tracks that we need to resolder in. They've done a little modification here too for frequency calibration, and you know, I would say that's going to be a hell of a lot more stable. What I'm seeing here now, basically, we've got to have a look at just how they've disconnected. Taking this out is not hard, and we do pull the board out and actually do it from the underside of the board and remove all this wiring here. But I'm just having a look at just what they've done here. Okay, so there's been a little bit of a rejig over here, and lost in there somewhere will be our filter, which we'd like to reconnect. Okay, I had to get my my magnifier these days, but if you look in here, I'm just going to see if I can point this to you. I'll show you what they've done. Let's get this a little pointer, I think. So to do their channels, right in here, see how they've cut the track just there. So they've disabled the switch. So this is really easy to basically get this back to being a filter. So once we remove the extra channels, we'll just short between there and over there where that cut is there. And this is a real simple fix to get this back to how it should be. Just want to show you something about LED lighting, by the way. Okay, volume up. What? Listen to this. Let me turn the light off. Let me put the light back on. Okay, so, you know, I've got to get that pretty close. That LED light is not too bad for what it is, but certainly, you know, it is a noisy from an RF point of view. We just put in 24 new LED battens in all our commercial premise sheds and barns, etc. we've got here, and I can tell you the noise that comes off them, zero. But they're the new ones that, thank God, the old ones were terrible. All right, so if you have an LED, or if you have a noise problem, don't forget LED lighting can be a little bit sort of terrible. Let's just look at this. This is a very old version 40 channel switch. Let's just sort of spray that while we're here. Just give that a little bit. It's more just as a lubrication. Oh, look at that. Oh, just doing that, the switch just feels, oh, this is such a comfortable feel. Really changed. Oh my goodness, that's so nice now. Was a little bit stiff, to be honest, so just shows you, it doesn't take much. So, okay, so in summary, what we're going to do is we're going to remove some extra channels, do the filter there, and that'll all be hunky-dory. So this has given you a bit of an insight into, and me too, first time I've looked at one of these, but this is a very early version, twin board, and I've just got to check, but my Sam's manual should pick that up. But I reckon this would be the same design used on the Super Bass. Certainly very similar, isn't it? Even to the point of the AB switch, all the modulation, etc. Really is something that I think, we're on the money. And this is their antenna switch here. You can see how they go in and out on the antenna switch. Just a small little relay there to do that. So yeah, look, it's well, it's a Cybernet. It's a very early version Cybernet, and I'm sorry I didn't pick up on that when I first had it in this direction. My brain should have said, God, that looks like a GEB model, and it sort of did, of course, because of the green VCO. But I just looked at the transmitter and went, oh, that looks great. But yeah, no, this is a twin board B model version. And once again, the B model had the GB model had a lot more additions to it that I can see here. This looks very basic. Okay, so because this video is getting on a bit, you just have to hang in there. We'll do the little fix this switch up, which is very simple. But apart from that, the only other thing we need to do is to get a look at this calibrate meter here. 1 2 1 2. Sideband doesn't kind of work for trying to do that. Yeah, so we need to calibrate. See how that calibrates, just not going far enough down, and then when it goes to SWR, once again that should be shown. So look, that also could be a pin diode that's giving some trouble on the metering. It's very possible, but we'll get into that. And look, none of this is really difficult to get done. I'm actually pretty impressed by its receiver for its age. I'm impressed. Its transmitter's working beautifully. I might just try on air one more time. Oh well, actually no, I can't. Sorry, I can't. No, now we've found that it's got a, okay, just a quick one on that. Once we discover that there's any sort of issue like this, the trick is to remove the problem before going back on air. So, we've cited the problem, we'll sort it out, and then we'll put it back on air. But, and look, it would have been so easy to go back and just say, hey, has anybody got a copy? Just want to do a test on channel 35. But unfortunately, that there could, get into trouble a little bit, not much, just a little bit. Anyway, all right, let's just see where we go from here. I'm just gonna have a quick look. Okay, so what we've done, this is the typical you got to unplug the middle plug, but what you've got to remember, don't forget all the underneath plugs. 1 2 3, and they're all coming from the bottom board. So now, this is the most unstable way I've ever seen of doing this mod, and we're going to have to carefully have a look at just how it is that we remove that, because they've done quite a bit here, and I'm just going to have to research in my head a bit here just how they've done that. See, this will be your 10.0525. No, it won't. Sorry, that'll be a 10.692, won't it? So I just can't really see it. I need me light. Let's just see if I can use that to... Okay, sorry, I was right. 10.0525 there, which makes that... Is that 10 point... oh... 10.160. Okay, so see, that's interesting. That is definitely different to how I would have thought they'd be doing this. All right. So we have to tread carefully a bit here and just work out what they're doing, because when they switch this switch in here, I would have thought normally just cut a track to one of these lines here. there's your 640 kc, there's your 320, 160 kc, etc., and do it there. Now, they haven't done it that way, and someone who's done a bit with these older boards might like to comment on the YouTube file if if you've seen one of these before. See, here I thought what they're doing is getting for more stability, but now I'm starting to wonder whether they're swinging, but it depends on where the switch position goes over here. Oh, there's a few things going on over here. Have a look at this. Okay, right, so here's our switch position. That's what they're switching, there and there. Now, if we go there and there, we're over near that 10.0525. So they're doing some magic there. And that bit there is where they come off to that, yes, that crystal with the, and that is really interesting. Look, this is a very unstable way to get extra channels. I would have thought, not that I want to teach you on how to put extra channels into a PLO2A, that's not what I do, but this is a really crazy way to do it. That being said, it looks like that we can do a workaround pretty easily. Let's find out, because we've started things like this before and found out, but we'll get there, that's for sure. Okay, so you can see what we've done is we've just taken this these two, the blue and the green wire, off this switch position here. So what we want to do is we want to short that switch position and see where we are from there, and then we can work backwards and make sure that we don't find out that they've got some sort of series link that is swinging an oscillator, that when we undo all this, all of a sudden, hang on, we can't get it back onto where it was before. And these things do happen. Not so much for Cybernet chassis, these are a little bit simpler, thank goodness, but some of the other chassis can get interesting, how people did mods back in the 1970s. Alright, so what we've done there is we've created a join just across this fella right here. Now you might say, why do you could have just done a quick little wire link? Well, the reason is there's a cut in that track there, and we're trying to make this look like it's an original radio. We do that, it really is getting back to being an original radio. But let's just see what we've learned from this here, because we don't want to pull this off. Let's keep learning as we go. Okay, so what we're learning is that this has got very little happening in either position. So at the moment, we've got an oscillator that's either shut down or PLL's not running, and this is the joys of now backtracking through what they've done here. I have a feeling it won't be too hard for us to find out, but always photograph what you're doing, just in case you've got to go backwards and say, sure, I'm in a bit of trouble here, but and it does happen. As you start pulling more and more wires off, you start finding that there's another track in there that's been cut as well. So that's another switch position that we've got to sort out. Okay, let's see how much you were concentrating when we did the last 30 seconds of video. Do you remember the bit where I tested and I thought, oh, okay, nothing happening? Well, just to show you that it's midnight and I'm probably getting a bit tired, helps if you plug the board back in, sort of to get a transmit signal. So just remember that don't do as I do. Anyway, okay, so what we've done, disconnected all this rubbish here. We now have a situation where if I go here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I'm on channel 35 on the dummy load, 1, 2, 3, and if I pull that switch out, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to just disconnect this bit of rubbish off the switch, which is all in there, which is a big mess. As you can see, it just follows through and goes da-da-da. And then with a little bit of solder, we can hook up the high filter. So the offending culprit is removed, and now we just want to get on the back side of this radio, and be a bit tight getting in here, but we've just got to get into the board here and solder these up so that we've got our high filter working again. So let's go do that. Okay, so put a few screws back in yet, but get our little high filter. It doesn't make much difference, to be honest. You can hear it, but I'm not sure that it is that effective. I'm just feeding a tone in at the moment. I think on a voice with a bit more frequency range, it might sort of change it a bit, but that's all back in there. The switch is all nice and cleaned up in there, and with our one screw holding this board in here, we've had to go in there and obviously cross over some switch points there to get that working. But we have now a standard 40 channel 78999, which is really nice, and it's nice to have all the features doing what they should do. Oh, you can hear it. It's not overly. Yeah, I'd almost say let's have a play with changing some cap values on that to see if you can make it a bit more severe, because really it's probably just more like a tone control. Oh yeah, it takes the high off. When I bring the tone up high, it cuts the high. Nothing on the low. Alright, well, all that mucking around with, I mean, it wasn't about getting the high filter so much, it was more about getting the extra channels. So now we've got a 40 channel. Okay, so now I can put an antenna back on it. Oh, she's a beauty now. I've still got to put a few more screws back in the board and get all this. Just so you know, look at this. One screw holding all that in. It's a little bit of a technician's trick, that one. We don't put all the screws back in until we confirm it's actually doing what it should be. Sometimes you'll get the strangest of faults. I've still got to go in and still calibrate the SWR. I'll do that, but I won't. We're at 26 minutes. I think you've learned enough about 78999s, and so have I, to be honest. It's the first time I've ever played with one, and look, in the end, it became fairly simple to get it back to what it needs to be. But what a lovely radio. I mean, honestly, they really are. For 1977, that era, this had a lot going for it. Imagine a Channel 6 Super Bowl, Oh, my goodness. No, but very nice. All right, well, thanks very much. I hope you've learned a little bit about how to be thinking when you get a modified radio. If you're trying to get it back to standard, how to be thinking on how to do that. And a couple of tips, whenever you see wiring like we saw before, with this big, sort of thing going off to oscillators and doing strange things, and by the way, that would have been affecting the stability so much, the way they were doing it, of this radio. This radio will be so much more stable without those wires going off to oscillators everywhere. It really will. I've still got to do the maths on just exactly what they were doing, but we got it out, and then it's all sort of back how it should be, so we'll go fix that next. All right, 73s to you. Thanks very much. I'm sorry this video went so long, but it's kind of been good for you to, to actually get inside a radio. Sometimes we need to do that more. I'd like to show you how we do our switch mode modifications and everything, but we'll get onto that probably with another radio. But this has been great just to show you the 78999 chassis, and we might even put a 240 volt transformer into this one. I just think we might do it without the switch mode. I just think this radio is such a classic that we might do that. Anyway, thanks very much for having a bit of a look. This has been a bit of fun, just showing you a bit about the old 1977 78999. 73s to you, and this is VK3 Charlie Mike, JDW229. Please subscribe. We're getting a good subscriber base. It's really moving along well. Just hit that subscribe button. I won't even charge you, but yeah, please subscribe, because we're really trying to build this up a bit. You might ask why. We'll come back on that. Not sure I've got a good answer for that, but anyway, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I just want to check one last thing. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, see how the modulation light works on AM so much more. Look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. All right, I'm going to have a little play with this. I might put the screws back in it too, and we'll call this one done. 73s, all the best.